Rotted wood molding around a kitchen counter tile, and this is about 10 years old. Water found a gap, came loose, the grout came loose, and the wood rotted. So this is what we've got. We're going to be replacing that with this new piece that we believe is oak. Sanded down already. Make sure you sand it, it'll make that grain come out better. And we're just going to go through putting that on there after we find a stain that's going to match up with this color that's over here. So these are the tools that we use to take the piece of molding off. Where basically I took the saw, was cutting it here. I ran into the little molding down underneath, so I'm going to have to use some wood putty, which I was going to use anyways, to fill the nail holes in these. This was put on with nails, so I had to pull those pieces off with a crowbar and my 17-in-1, put it behind it with a hammer. You just got to be careful. Obviously, you don't want to do any damage. You don't need to. Okay, now we're going to chisel off this grout with a multi-tool and a hammer very carefully to make sure that you don't chip the tile, but we're going to want this clean for us to be able to put new grout on after we have attached the wood. Now I put two different color polyurethane stains on this piece of scrap wood. I kept a piece of the old wood so that I could match up against it, and I think it's this one. So this is with 2 coats, and it'll actually brighten up a little more, so that'll be great. So we're going to let that dry. We'll go ahead and put our first polyurethane coat on. Over here first we have to fix this nail hole. This actually was a scrap piece. So little wood filler, that color. All I'm going to do is put a little in the hole, and then we're going to have to wait for that to dry. Okay, first coat of polyurethane. We'll put on 3 of these. Both sides. One side first, obviously. Wait for it to dry to do the other. Okay, we've got our board polyurethaned, and it's looking pretty close. We're going to put another coat on everything later to bring it in closer. Now we slid the board in. I pre-nailed these in through the end of the board on a flat surface. It's easier to do on the ground than it is when it's up against something like this. And these little brad nails, which are only 1 1/4, have a tendency to bend on you, so you may need to take some out and start over. And if you do need to take any out, you always put something metal behind it before you take your claw hammer, and pull that out. This will protect the wood from denting. One more tip over here. You've got these nails, the brad nails, they've got a tip that's very sharp. I've found, and I've heard from other folks, that if you just take this and give it a little whack on a piece of steel, it'll flatten that out and it keeps the wood from splitting. So I've done that with all these nails all the way down. We've got a little bow in this wood, so we've got to pick it up on this side. So over here is actually flush with the other piece of wood. I'm just going to hold it in place while I put the first couple nails in, and then as we move down, we will bend this board into place by nailing it. I'm going to stop before you hit the wood, and then we're going to go in later on with the nail set, and we're going to push those in about 1/8 of an inch. Just have to rough up the holes now, make them flush. That way the wood putty will stick. Take a damp paper towel, just clean up around the holes. You'll have a little bit of film there. Get that off before you put on your layer of polypro. Put some tape down on the tile so that you don't get the polyurethane paint on it. It's okay if it gets in the grout. Actually, we'll just seal it some more. step, we're going to grout now. We're going to put the grout in between the wood and the tile all the way down. We're going to use this pre-mixed, the right color, matches up pretty well. It's for the right size joint. You want to make sure of that. It's sanded grout, and I'm just going to use a putty knife so that I don't have to have a special tool. Make sure you put things on the ground, so it's kind of a messy process. You're just going to push it in there. Don't do too much all at once. You can always go back. And you're going to use your grout float, and I'm going to smooth that in there. And then we're going to use this very lightly moistened sponge to take off any excess. But really, you're just trying to get it into the corners.